Good day, everybody. This is Will Laurier, and I am going to walk you through the Angoff Check Set number 1 for the Angoff standard setting. As you can see, I've entered my first name, last name, my email address, and I've put in my name as participant ID. The first question is about a hypothetical item, item A. Let us suppose that you think that the borderline level 0 candidate can answer that item correctly. First question is, what should you indicate on the Excel rating sheet under the 0+ column? The answer there is A, because that is precisely what yes under the 0+ column means. It means that for that item, you believe that its borderline level 0+ candidate can answer that item correctly. But if a borderline level 0+ candidate can answer the item correctly, then surely the borderline level 1 candidate can answer the item correctly, and the borderline level 1+ candidate can answer the item correctly. Therefore, what should be marked on the Excel rating sheet under the 1 column? Yes. Now suppose you're making a rating for item B. You believe that the borderline level 0+ candidate does not have the knowledge or abilities to get this item correct. Well, under the 0+ column for item B, you should put no, because that's precisely what that no rating means. It expresses your view that the borderline level 0+ candidate does not have the proficiency needed to answer that item correctly. For the same item, B, you're now considering the borderline level 1 candidate and also the borderline level 1+ candidate. If you read the situation up here, what it's telling you is that you have decided that the borderline level 1 candidate does not have the necessary knowledge and skills, but the borderline level 1+ candidate does, in order to answer the item correct. So question 4 should be answered as C, because no in column 1 represents a judgment that I do not believe that the borderline level 1 candidate can answer that item correctly. And yes in column 1+ means that I believe that the borderline level 1+ candidate can answer that item correctly. Which of the following best completes this sentence? The borderline level 1 candidate we've defined as the person who has the minimum knowledge, skills, and abilities to be considered level 1. So the answer is B. Why is the answer not A? Well, a typical level 1 person has more knowledge and skills, has more proficiency than the borderline level 1 candidate. Why is the answer not C? A borderline level 1 candidate would not necessarily always get level 1 items correct. They may get some correct some of the time, and others incorrect other times. Look at this set of ratings for item C. What can you conclude about what the panelist thinks? The panelist thinks that a person, a borderline level 0+ person, cannot answer this item C correctly. A borderline level 1 person would not get this item correct, but a borderline level 1+ would. Does she think that only people at level 2 or higher can be expected to answer item C correctly? No, because she thinks that borderline level 1+ people can. So this is incorrect. Does she think that people at level 1+ will always get the item correct? Also not true. Some people at level 1+ will get the item correct. Some people at level 1+ will get the item incorrect. That's not what this judgment means. What about C? Does she think that the borderline level 1+ candidate has the knowledge, skills, and abilities to get the item correct? Bingo! That's the right answer, because that's what that judgment represents. What about D? Does she think that the borderline level 0+ candidate and the borderline level 1 candidate have the same chance of getting the item correct? Not necessarily. We know that the borderline level 1 candidate has more proficiency than the borderline level 0+ candidate. In all likelihood, the borderline level 1 candidate has a higher chance than the borderline level 0+ candidate of getting the item correct. But in this panelist's estimation, neither one of these candidates would get the item correct. Question 7. Look at this set of ratings. What can we conclude about this panelist? Is the panelist confusing the Angoff rating task with expert judgments about the ILR level of an item? No, not necessarily. This set of ratings is a legitimate set of ratings. Does the panelist think that item D is very easy for anyone who might take the VLR? Quite the contrary. This person believes that even a borderline level 1+ person would not get the item correct. What about C? Does the panelist think that all 3 borderline VLR candidates lack the requisite knowledge and skills to answer item D? Yes, he or she does believe that, because they answered no, no, and no. Question 8. Different situation. Yes, yes, yes. What does that mean? Well, does it mean A, item D is very difficult even for the borderline level 1+ candidate? That's not what this panelist is saying with this set of judgments, because this panelist is saying that even at borderline level 1+, that person should be able to answer the item correct. So this would not be a very difficult item. That's not what this panelist is saying. Is this panelist saying B, that item D is an item that a monolingual English speaker would likely get correct? A little bit of a tricky choice here. The monolingual English speaker doesn't speak the target language. So B is not the right answer. What about C? Is the panelist saying that item D would likely be answered correctly by anyone at level 0+ or above in the target language? Yes, that's what this panelist is saying. That item D is easy. That item D would be answered by the borderline 0+ candidate, and therefore, logically, also by the borderline level 1 and the borderline level 1+ candidate. Thank you very much. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions about this check set, please call the help desk or contact the standard setting helpline. Thank you very much.